Hello, welcome to Tea with the President, a great evening segment on Sunday evenings where I get to, sit down with President Naokimi, have some tea, maybe spill some tea, although I didn't actually make myself any tea and I am liquidless today. President Naokimi has his tea. How are
Hey,
you,
Yoshie.
President Naokimi?
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
I'm glad another week has come to a close.
Another week has come and gone.
Yes, it
Yeah,
was a productive week, so
that's good. Yeah.
glad about that.
Mhm. Yeah, so if you're joining us for the first time, this is a casual conversation. So if you have a question or comment for President Naokimi or myself, please feel free to put them in the comments and we'll have a chat about it. Yes. How was your week? What is a highlight or something that you're grateful for from this last week?
Well, I'm done with my tour of Subregion 1,
Oh,
so
congratulations.
yes, thank you.
Was that officially done today or?
Yeah, done today.
Mhm.
Well, technically, there's one location we did talk with the community, but I didn't visit the center in Brooklyn yet. But we did have like a Zoom meeting with the Brooklyn members. So pretty much we visited 22 communities in 3 weekends, 10 states.
Wow.
So yeah, that was we officially finished with Elizabeth Church this afternoon. So
Great.
yeah, that was one thing that I was glad we were able to complete. Um, yeah, I guess that's the main highlight is just being done with the
Finishing your
busy.
tour.
Yeah, I mean it was fun. I mean it was good. I thought again, I said it was productive, like being able to visit every community and share what we're working on and getting everyone activated. That was kind of the
Mhm.
goal. And I think we did accomplish that objective. So I was happy about that. Um, and I guess a shout out to Resfred. He was my Secretary General. He helped coordinate all of the travels. So that, yeah, I know that was a lot of work too. So I'm
Yeah.
grateful to have him there to organize that. Yeah, I think that was, yeah, the main highlight, I would say.
Great. Um, Gregory says, I'm on the opposite side of the screen today. Does that have a significant meaning? And I did a great job as MC. Thank you. It doesn't have any significant meaning. I usually remember to just switch it because I have this concept that I think that President Naokimi should be this on the side that I'm usually on. And today I didn't do it. So that's the significant meaning.
Wow, paying attention, huh?
Yeah.
So you were the MC
I
today.
was the MC because Resfred was in Clifton with you.
That's right. That's
Yes.
right.
Yeah.
I had to do double duty today.
Mhm. Yeah. Two 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 sermons at the same
Two
time.
sermons at the same time. Amazing.
Wow. Yeah, for those of you who didn't know, President Naokimi was in Clifton today giving the sermon, and he had pre-recorded the sermon for Sunday service. And Resfred is usually the subregion 1 MC. We kind of alternate by subregions, and since Resfred was also in Clifton with President Naokimi, I got to be MC, so that was fun. It was great. We had fun.
I'm glad to hear that it went well.
Mhm. Yeah.
Although I did hear you mentioned that there was a little bit of um, commentary. Right, we'll get to
That was
that
a little bit.
later. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so then what was challenging about this last week?
Um. Well, there was a little bit of drama with Trump speaking at one of our events last
Yeah.
Saturday, and I think one of the groups that I work with, the American Clergy Leadership Conference, there are a few people who kind of reached out to the director, Dr. Rouse, and kind of expressed their strong kind of thoughts and feelings against kind of having Trump speak at one of our events. So yeah, it was a little bit of having to listen here and to better understand the situation. So that was earlier this week, Monday, that we had that. It's still kind of ongoing. We're trying to see where the how big it's gonna get in terms of a public relations issue. Right now, we're not 100% sure. A lot of the smaller media have picked it up. But yeah, I'm sure I'll hear more about it tomorrow when I check in with my team.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess that's also, I mean, that we kind of alluded to it in just the previous conversation that we were having too. Yeah, lots of opinions about President Trump speaking at the Rally of Hope, and that showed up, I guess, all week. Also in the comments of Sunday service.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, that was one of the challenges this week. The schedule was a bit arduous, I think, because it's easier for people to gather on weekends. A lot of the larger communities we visited on the weekends, and I mean, weekends are generally busy, but it's also supposed to be my kind of family time and break time. So weekends, having 3 weekends booked back to back has been challenging. And before that, it was about a month of different events on weekends. So it's been a long time since having some time on the weekend. So that's been a little bit, kind of catching up on me, I think. Like even having a space to like catch up on my own personal emails and bills and stuff like that. So anyway, I'll get to it tomorrow, maybe. Yes.
Great. Yeah. And then, so what was a key development or something kind of important that took place this week?
Well, yeah, I think I already mentioned it, but the biggest development was completing the activation tour in Subregion 1. We were really able to meet every community, 22 communities, actually 23, I think is what Resfed said, in 10 states and 17 days. So it's quite a feat. And one day, I remember this past Wednesday, we went to 5 communities in New York City in one day. So it was like Queens, Long Island, oh no, we didn't go to Brooklyn. It was Queens, Long Island, Manhattan, Harlem, and Bronx, all in one day. So that was pretty insane. Yeah, so I would say that's the main development, is the activation meetings. And actually, there was one other thing that happened this week, which was kind of neat. We met with a business owner, one of our members. He's been watching Morning Devotion since the very beginning, and anyway, he just set up a meeting, and he said that he felt compelled to make a donation. So yeah, he committed to offering. Well, he put 40,000 down, and then he's committing to give another 10 to 20 a month, something like that. So that was inspiring. I mean, that doesn't happen every day, and just this kind of sincere heart to want to offer something. So that was very exciting and hopeful. I'm thinking, if we even have one of these in each subregion, it would make a huge difference for the subregional development. So yeah, I was really grateful for that. That was something new and exciting, and I'm very hopeful for the future.
Oh, exciting. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Greg says God works, and that's true.
Indeed.
And Marie said Dr. Young mentioned that in morning devotion.
Yeah. He was. I remember we had lunch that day. It was on Friday. We had lunch with him and Dr. Young, and Dr. Young was talking to me. It's like, see, I told you, when there's a perfect plus, a perfect minus appears. Because Dr. Young's been talking about, wanting to donate overseas, and even if
Right,
we don't have
yeah.
any money, and then this guy comes suddenly and says, yeah, I want to offer this for the overseas stuff. And so, yeah, so I gratefully accepted that statement. I said, I am so happy for you, Dr. Young, that a perfect minus appeared. um, so yeah. Anyway, so I was grateful for that. Sure.
Great. Let's see. I think that it's a good time to talk a little bit about this. We're going to talk about the sermon and some of the comments because we haven't done that in a little while. And I mentioned to President Naokimi that the topic of the sermon seemed to really inspire some introspection, and there were some really good kind of thoughtful comments. So I thought that it would be a good week to kind of go back and look at those. Yes.
Yeah, it's been a little while, so I think it'll be good to
It
take
has
a look.
been. Yeah, maybe like a month or a little bit more.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first comment. So I send President Naokimi the comments on Facebook from his sermon every week, and then he goes through and highlights his favorite ones. And so that's what we're going to go through right now. The first comment that I see you highlighted is from Jennifer Pierce.
Yay, Jennifer.
Who says, forgiving one's enemy is about cycle breaking. Hate usually begets more hate, but love puts a full stop to the cycle. Jesus and true parents are pros at this. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was kind of my opening point, and I felt Jennifer really captured it well in her statement.
Yes.
That yeah, fighting hate or anger with anger just kind of adds fuel to the fire. So the only way to kind of address or overcome it is really, you gotta have a different approach, even though it doesn't logically or emotionally make sense. It's kind of all the, even like the superhero movies or shows, Batman and all those kind of things. It's like if you it's kind of unfair, but if you use the same tactics as the bad guys, then you're kind of being drawn to the bad side,
Yeah.
kind of like that.
Yeah.
So
Well, I've had that experience. You have to be really intentional, because as soon as you like feel like you're being attacked, it's so easy for the defenses to go up and for you to like attack as well. But if you like expect that you're going to be attacked and you like choose to like absorb it and have a different response, it really does shock the other party, and makes them, it takes the wind out of like everybody's sails immediately, in my experience anyway. Cycle breaking.
yeah, well said, Jennifer.
Yeah. And then Jennifer also said, oof, thank you for mentioning this, Naokimi Oppa. To address hurt, we first need to acknowledge it's there.
Yeah, that was an important point I wanted to emphasize, so I highlighted it. When we talk about loving your enemies, forgiving, and all that kind of stuff, I think there is a few steps before you get to the forgiveness part, that loving part. And I think the first main step is really acknowledging the pain that you are feeling, and really validating that, because you have to also kind of take care of yourself in that sense, like be aware of the real kind of hurt and pain you're going through. And by acknowledging that first, then you have a foundation to be able to now get beyond that and forgive others.
Yeah. Yes.
And I really like that quote that, I mean, I use it in the sermon, but I think it was from Buddha or something. Resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. It's like, so whenever we hate on somebody, it poisons your soul.
Yeah.
So it's really important to know that you have those pain, but again, holding on to it or directing it at someone doesn't actually help. So it's really important to just acknowledge the pain you are feeling and then consciously kind of let it go.
Laura says, loved that quote from Buddha. Exactly true. And then Marie Bond says, I have a cool. Okay. There you are. Are you back?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Your video went for a second. Marie Bond said, I have a question about the identity of the enemy. I never thought I will have an enemy until I encountered jealousy and resentment. So even I forgive, but it doesn't change the enemy. It makes me feel free, but the enemy needs to change himself in order to reconcile two parts of the coins. Do you have a response to that?
Well, yeah. So forgiveness is really more for you than the person that you're forgiving. That's for sure. But in order to liberate the other person, yeah, the only way is that you model behavior that really moves their hearts. But ultimately, everyone has their portion of responsibility. You can't do that for them, right? So you can only model it yourself. It's up to them to forgive or change, or that's not your responsibility. But what you can be responsible for is how you respond and how you deal with each situation.
Okay, let's see. Back to the comments. Sam Harley said, wow, so refreshing to hear that doing God's will doesn't excuse us from taking care of our family. We're still responsible for our loved ones. It's a mountain to climb for sure, but it's where we meet God. So many undigested difficulties from doing frontline work, but they're still needing to be worked out. If not us, then our children or our children's children will need to work on this. Thank you, President Naokimi.
Yeah, that was kind of an important, point I wanted to make, and something I'm constantly working on, and that is that as busy as I am with my mission work, I'm still responsible for my other duties, and so I can't use my mission as an excuse for not being there as a husband or as a father. And yes, I know sometimes sacrifices need to be made, but it's still not an excuse. Like, I'm still responsible because it affects, the people I care about.
Those are your kind of foundational responsibilities, and everything else comes on top of that.
Yep. Not easy.
And then I see, okay, so Dr. Ward was your last highlighted comment. He said, thank you for your honest sharing and reflections. I especially appreciate that you gave new internal meaning and purpose to the International Day of Peace. Special.
Yeah, I wasn't exactly sure what Dr. Ward was meaning with that statement, but I figured it'd be good to just acknowledge that comment. I'm trying to actually think what special meaning did I give to that day, but just reflecting back on International Peace Day, I probably said something like, let's use this as a chance to reflect on bringing peace in our relationships and so on and so forth. So he probably understands the official meaning of that day, which is probably like, between nations and
Right.
all that kind of
Right.
stuff. Um, but yeah, I do feel it's a it's a day that we can also apply that concept in our everyday relationships, and especially those close relationships in our
Mhm.
family and our close friends. So yeah, that's why I wanted to highlight it. I just felt like
Great.
thank you for thanking me, Dr. Ward. But
I don't know my own genius.
actually, I think he was indirectly sharing, showing my ignorance of the original meaning of the International Day of Peace by the UN, because
Mm,
he's very versed in the United Nations and the whole history of that. So that's what I sensed. But anyway,
mm.
thank you for your grace, Dr. Ward.
And then, yeah, I also wanted to acknowledge that in the comments there is we mentioned about the PR storm that's kind of happening and
Mm,
ACLC. So in the comments right now, there's another discussion happening about true parents work with politicians, I think. So, for instance, Greg said, I thought it was great for Trump to speak, the first former sitting president to testify to true parents. That is historic and game changing. Doesn't mean necessarily that we embrace his political stance, but certainly some do. This is the real headwing. And then let's see. Laura says, I remember when many unificationists were unhappy with True Father supporting Nixon. It's not about the person, it's about his position and ability to cause changes that move the world in the perspective God needs us to move. Yeah.
yeah, there were a few comments I remember in the Facebook where actually I think it was from the same person, but he was basically saying that we allowed the evil Trump to have a platform to share
Mm,
his, we validated his, his evilness or something like that. But um, I want to challenge those who comment that, to take a look at the actual speech,
yeah.
and also more than his speech, we need to think about always based on purpose. What is the purpose of having them speak? It wasn't that we were supporting Trump. Actually, True Parents was getting these top leaders to support the Providence. And the Providence is right now, how do we help North-South unification to
Yeah.
happen?
Yeah.
That was the theme of the whole rally. And more than any other president, Trump was the first to directly meet with, the North Korean president. So it is directly related to the purpose
Yeah.
of really doing that. And we also had, because Trump spoke, Prime Minister Abe also agreed to speak. And I also heard the top two largest cities in South Korea, the mayors of those cities agreed to speak because Trump, was speaking at that
Yeah.
event.
They weren't they weren't on the original program that we received.
Exactly,
So
because
it was all a
it
surprise.
was
Yeah.
almost like it was almost impossible to get the current mayors of Seoul and Busan,
Right.
to speak. But just because, if we get someone like Trump, which is world known,
Yeah.
they actually agreed to speak because
Yeah.
of that. So if you look at everything from the sense of purpose, it's beyond America, actually. And that's the thing,
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
that we're so caught up in our own political situation in America. What true parents are looking at, what mother is looking at, is something much bigger than that. And
Mhm.
so, um, anyway, I know the feelings are still real, so I'm acknowledging the concerns and what people feel and think about that. But I always go back to purpose.
Yeah.
That's the way you can get out of the politics, out of the personal, emotional feelings to what is the true intention
Mhm.
behind anything that we do.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you exactly hit it on the head just now. But that was something that I was realizing also um, I guess in subsequent meetings that happened in this last week, that it's, we in America maybe are seeing a magnified negative response because we're in America. But yeah, the event wasn't for us, it was for Korea, and so like we want to support Korea, the reunification of North and South Korea, and like he is a controversial figure, but everybody knows his name. Everybody,
That's right.
yeah. It's very interesting.
Yeah, and he directly said he hopes for the possibility of a peaceful reunification in North South Korea, and then he believes it's possible. So for Kim Il Sung or Kim Jong Un to hear that, that's how Trump, one of the few presidents he's met face to face,
Right.
to endorse that possibility, it actually gives him courage and encouragement that that's an option.
Mhm.
So I think in terms based on purpose, it was huge for Trump to be able to speak at the Rally of Hope.
Yeah. Okay, so that is it for the comments. What are you looking forward to in this coming week?
Well, I did mention that I'm done with the tour, so
Yay.
I'm looking forward to having a weekend. Although already a few people have asked me for different events happening on the weekend, but I'm gonna see my schedule and see if I can take a day. Yeah, and also when I'm doing like these extra things like tours,
Mhm.
I kind of get backed up on a few things like emails and other
Right.
meetings and stuff. So
And then you
kind
also
of want to
mentioned
yeah, I want to take this
home
week to
things.
catch up on everything. Um, yeah, that's kind of the usual stuff. But one different thing is my sister is expecting, and so
Ah.
she had a baby shower today. I was kind of busy with finishing the tour. I couldn't visit today, but we
Mhm.
set up a dinner for next week. So I'm looking forward to kind of meeting them and just congratulating her on that. So
That's so
that's
great.
something different. Yeah.
A fun family outing.
Yeah. Fun's not the exact word that comes to mind, but it's kind of like,
A noteworthy. I'm
yeah,
just trying to
part of
throw
my
words
duty as a
to this.
brother. Yeah.
Mm.
So in the past, I know that I've used the excuse myself of being too busy with my public mission for dealing with family relations, but I'm more consciously making effort to take the time to engage with my siblings,
Great.
my family. Yeah.
Mm. Very cool. Okay, so I guess that is all of the questions that I have for you today. Oh, here's a comment that just came in really quickly. If Kathleen wants to know how your father is.
Yeah, still recovering. He's at home. We have a couple therapists coming in, and yeah, I'm kind of helping my mom, bathe him now once or twice a week.
Mm,
Um, Still can't speak, and mobility is limited. Only the right side, actually left side. He can use his left leg and arm,
hmm,
which is a little bit, stronger than before, but the right side is still not functioning. So
mm,
that's kind of looks like it's going to be, yeah, a long haul in this process
mm,
at this point.
mm. Thanks. Okay, so on that note, I think we are out of time for the evening. Thank you all for joining us today, and thank you for making time, President Naokimi. Good luck on your coming weekend and getting things done finally after your tour. Yeah,
Thank you, Yoshie.
and yeah, again, thank you everybody for joining, and we will see you again next week, same time, same place.
That's right. Thanks for joining, guys. We'll
All
see you
right.
again next week.
God bless you.
Bye. Good night.